about to jump into it. So now my question to you is, Brother Mind Ascension.
Mind Ascension. Before we begin, Mind Ascension here. Peace to the black gods and goddesses, creatresses of this planet. My 6 to 22 strand, 7 to 9 ether, selenium base, you melanin gods of this planet. And I'm here with the young neophyte. I'm really ready to blow his spot, let everybody know who he really is. You know, the young neophyte here, man. And when I consider one of my top students, I've seen him expand and ascend to many levels. And I'm just happy to have this time again to speak with a brother with the mind and the frequency that he's on. And I definitely think we're going to tap into the God realm tonight. And by all means, brother, begin.
All right, so I had told you before that we had a small discussion about it once before, but it was more of just of our sharing opinions on the topic. But let me just jump into it and just say, so this gym life and exercising.
Okay.
As far as exercising goes.
All right.
You know, we talked about, I've already seen on your page, and you already expressed it on your page, how basically the gym or gymnasium is basically just means naked. And that's comes from the Greek culture. And that did not belong to indigenous minds, the gymnasium. There was no such thing as a gymnasium. So now the question is, how did we remain quote unquote fit if such a thing even existed? So I want you to expand on that a little bit.
All right. So before we go there, y'all know Mind Ascension. I got to deal in source knowledge. Let's deal with the etymology of the word gymnasium. If you look up the word gymnasium, it comes from the term Greek, which means to be naked, to exercise naked, or actions within nudity. Okay? Understand that, first and foremost, anything that you do to the body, whether it's eating food, whether it's any form of exertion, is depleting of the body. Because the body doesn't take anything outside of itself. Whatever you put in your body, it's not taking anything from it. Don't ever think that anything you put in your body or do to your body is being enhanced for that thing outside of itself. The only thing things outside of the body can do for the body is stimulate what the body already possesses. Let's get that straight. Now, as far as exercise goes, there's nothing wrong with exercise. You know, even if you look at the word, you know, I know I'm going to go over, even if you look at the word exercise, look at the etymology and look at the base of it. Exer, okay? Exert, okay? Exorcis, exorcism, exercise, all right? Now, if we want to talk about what the indigenous people did, all you have to do is use observation. We don't even have to use intelligence on this one. Because when we watch indigenous tribes around the world, whether we're talking about the so-called Native American or the African tribes amongst all the different, countries of the continent, or even the Asiatic indigenous people before their invasions and their amalgamations with other people, we noticed that one thing they all have in common that they did as a form of exercise, which I don't even think they looked at it as exercise, was what? Dance. You have the Native Americans doing rain dances, tribal and ceremonial dances. You have the Africans doing rites of passage dances for women and rites of passage dances for men. As a matter of fact, I remember not too long ago going to a traditional Nigerian African wedding, and every single thing they did involved dancing. The groom would dance the groom out, and the groomsmen would dance the groom out. It's the same thing with the brides. The adults would dance up to the front of the stage, you know what I'm saying? So dancing was first and foremost one of the best exercises we did. Then we also got to remember, when you're dealing with the indigenous culture of this planet or the indigenous mind, everything is respected and separated within the form of duality or the feminine and masculine principle. So therefore, what do I mean? There were feminine dances and there were masculine dances. You see, they were feminine forms of exercise and they were masculine forms of exercise, because we understood that the way that you exert the body or put any strain or put any activity upon the body affects each different anatomy of that body in different ways, leading to different results of that body. So the feminine anatomy cannot do things that the masculine anatomy can do. And this is why today we have the reversal and the degeneration of many of our women, because they're exercising like men. Dancing, what the so-called Chinese or whatever called Tai Chi, which is not theirs but ours, which is nothing. If you look at Tai Chi is aerobics in slow motion. It's aerobics in slow motion. You're dealing with energy and meridian channels of the body using your hands, and we talked about this on the last video, and well, not the last video, but a video some time ago on Divine Cycles and Falls, where we spoke about mudras, which is different movements of the hands to conduct different forms of energies within the hands to either be released from the body or to circulate within the body. When you put your hands in a certain way, you're creating a form of circuit and circulation where energy can't leave it. When you put it another way, you're putting it away where energy is being released. Tai Chi was one thing, which you see a lot of Chinese people. As a matter of fact, when I used to visit anybody that lives in New York City, if you understand Casino Boulevard and which is past Kew Gardens, you know that that's almost like a little form of Little China. And every time, it never fails, every time I used to go through there was always old people in the park doing Tai Chi. So Tai Chi is one, yoga is another one. All of us did a form of yoga, especially women. Women dominated yoga a little bit more than men. But yoga is one, Tai Chi is one. What they call Qigong or Qigong, that's another one, which is just another form of Tai Chi, but just a much more advanced version. We had massage, Reiki massage. I'm trying to think of the massage that's like extensive. I mean, it hurts like hell, but it releases so much energy out of the different meridian channels and the different vortexes of the body that is just one of the most extreme. Starts with an R. I think it's called Rolfing. Maybe y'all will probably correct me in the comments later. I think it's called Rolfing. But anyway, all these different things were our forms of exercise. Because if you notice, everything I name doesn't necessarily exert the body. Which goes into another thing that I'm sure y'all have heard me mention or read in my comments is sweating and bleeding was almost a form of disrespect to your vessel or your body. It was considered below you as a divine being to exert sweat and to exert blood. Not to mention the scientific or biological fact that when you sweat, you're releasing different forms of minerals and different forms of things from your body. One of them, I believe, being iodine. There's many of them, you know. But the fact of the matter is, the blood is one of the most precious things that the vessel that you call the human body holds. The blood in itself contains every form of mineral and every form of organic substance within the existence of this planet can be taken and reduplicated from your blood alone. Not to mention the 6 to 22 strands that exist within your blood, each strand being encoded with some form of 76 trillion years of history. So these two things, as far as sweat and blood, was looked at as such a disrespect to be drained or, you know, dispersed from your body in any way, shape, or form. So when you did exercise that didn't exert your body. You did exercise that didn't make you drown in sweat to where you, oh, I need some water, I need to retrieve my electrolytes. That's another one, by the way, electrolytes. That's coming out of your pores, that's being released from your body. So in actuality, the more you exercise, the more extensive your exercise, the more you are degenerating your body and the more you're shortening your lifespan. This is just a fact. Scientists have proved this. Research has proved this. Running, all these different things that we do, copying this recessive gravitation we call the European. These things are degenerative to the body. So what you want to do, ladies, you want to dance. What do they call that? That hula hoop thing, which came from us, by the way. I don't know if there's a correct term to call it, but using a hula hoop, ladies, if you have daughters, get them into hula hooping, you know what I'm saying? And playing with the hula hoop and stuff like that. That's an excellent exercise. Even, you know, I'm not trying to make this anything what's the word, vulgar or whatever, but even pole dancing is excellent exercise. Yeah, it is, you know, I mean, I'm not, you know, let's be adults here, but pole dancing is excellent exercise, ladies. Hula hoop, using a hula hoop just for fun, that's excellent exercise. You know what is another excellent exercise? Trampoline. If you have a small trampoline or a large trampoline, that's excellent exercise because jumping up and down actually stimulates the cells in your body to a certain extent. You know, not to mention that it's fun as hell. I'll give you another thing for the ladies. If you invert your body 2 to 5 minutes a day, And when you first start doing this, because when I first discovered these things, I try everything I discover. And it's much more difficult than it sounds. But remember as a child, as children, we used to love to stand on our heads. I tell you, this is why the child is the closest thing to God. Because if you really watch children, they do things without a need of being taught. But it's just an inner knowingness. And they do it for what we think is for fun. But there's something driving them on the inside that is a divine intelligence that makes them exercise certain things and practice certain things that you later on through study find out is a divine action. Because standing on your head inverts your body to the point where the blood that's running and circulating through your body is now going against gravity. You see what I'm saying? So that's another excellent thing for the women, because it actually changes your cycle to an extent. It puts you more in balance as your blood flow within your body. But it's excellent for men too. But I focus this on women because unfortunately, women today are the ones being degenerated the most when we speak of exercising. Because men, when we do any type of weight resistance and weight training, we're building testosterone. When women do it, they're doing the same damn thing. They want to pretend like they're not. They want to ignore this science, but it's just a scientific fact. If you type in how to build testosterone with no gender attached, the first thing that you'll see is weightlifting. That's the first thing that's the first thing that will be listed. So let's just admit to ourselves that the more we're in the gym pumping iron, the more we're in the gym, when I see y'all ladies, don't get me wrong, when you want to do squats with a medicine ball. You know, I don't know if y'all know what a medicine ball is. Do squats with a beach ball. Do squats with things that force you,
that are light?
Not that are light, but that have less resistance upon the body. You see what I'm saying? They have those stretchy bands. You see, basically, you don't want to pick something up physically that is completely against gravity on its own. You understand what I mean by that? What I mean by that is these 40-pound or 35-pound iron dumbbells I got over there, whether I'm using them or not, they're against gravity all the time. As they're laying on the floor, they're against gravity. But if I have weight bands or resistance bands, once I don't touch them, they're what's the word I want to use? Give me the word, brother, where the opposite of resistance. I want to say receiving, but I don't want to use that for the physical aspect of a weight band. Or excuse me.
Say they retract on their own.
Yes, they retract, but I'm looking for the specific word that means it's a give. It's pliable. Like, you know, like if you look at a rubber band, once I use a rubber band and I stretch it, I can create resistance based on my resistance, based on my force. So I control the force of that rubber band by my own. But once I release it, it has no force at all. It's pliable. It's like liquid, huh?
Malleable?
Okay, that would be a good one. You know, I like to use smart words and stuff, sound smart, you know, for my ego, you know. But that's the difference between what we're using and what we're imitating that's degenerating our bodies depending on what anatomy we fall under and what energy we fall under, which is very important. We need to stop ignoring that. Please, ladies, stop ignoring that. You gotta stop ignoring that, because this is why y'all breasts are deflating. This is why you're getting little whiskers on the side of your mouth that you think nobody notices, and you shave real quick or you wax real quick and all of that stuff, and you just go about your business like it doesn't matter. That's why you're getting little chin hairs. This is why you're becoming a little bit more aggressive. This is why y'all snap very fast and ready to fight everybody, because your testosterone is building inside of you. And just because you might not look like a man right now does not mean that the biology within your body is not reacting and changing and reversing and stimulating certain hormones to the point where your body is saying, wait a second, I thought I was in a female anatomy and skeleton, but this species keeps doing things that are exerting and that are stimulating the masculine side of it. Oh, well, let me make myself more masculine. Because remember, the body is intelligent. The body's only goal is to survive. So if I keep shooting dope in my arm, after the first 3, 4, 5 years, I'm not going to get high no more. I'm going to only be shooting the dope so I don't get sick. Because my body has built a tolerance in order to survive with the poison I'm shooting in my body on a consistent basis. Because since my body can't stop me from doing it, and also since my body can't get anything from the outside to save itself, it uses what it already has. So it starts taking from itself. And then once it realizes you're not going to stop, it starts converting itself to something that can become what you're trying to make it to be. So the more you do manly things and masculine things, the more masculine you become. What else can I go into? Massage, ladies, get into massage. Get into giving massage and getting massages. That's very important. Men too. Massages are extremely important.
Giving and wait, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
yes.
you said giving and getting.
Yes, meaning like practice the art of massage, practice the art of acupuncture, practice the art of meridian channels, practice the art of the vortex centers of the body that are concentrated with energy. This also relates to spiral energy, which relates to sex. I don't want to get into that, but you know, it's a whole nother level. But practice these arts and have them done as well to you. You'll be amazed the certain toxins and the certain things that are released out of the parts of your body that are harboring these things that just never get released because those points are being pressured. You know, if you study reflexology, they like to show the foot the most, but reflexologies could be done all over the body. But the thing about the foot, you know, I'm not going to show my foot, but the thing about the foot is that the foot has every part of the body within itself. You see? Just like the air. If you look at the air looks like an upside down fetus. This is the head, and this is the body curled up within the womb. Now, this also connects to something else that can tell you who's closer to human and who's not. Because if you see, there's people on this earth who don't have an earlobe. And that's a little suspect, but I'm not going to get into that. What else can I go into?
I've actually also seen it on not just the foot and the ears, but you know, there's also the eyes, the top of the way your hair grows.
All over your body. And you know why? Because never forget that you come from a center of a zygote that became a fetus. So every part of your body stems from one center. So there's no disconnection. This is why if I touch a meridian channel on your foot, it'll affect a place on your left shoulder. You see what I'm saying? This is why, once again, let's be adults here. This is why certain people can become aroused or can even achieve orgasm with just doing things to the foot, ladies. If you know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all like them toes, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And until you experience, you don't realize it. But when you really experience what happens between your toes, that little center between there, the ball, well, not the ball of your foot, the center of what would be the palm on the hand, but on the foot, I can't call it the palm. I don't even know what you would call it, but that's the sole. There you go. And why do we call it that? The sole of the foot. Isn't it funny that the sole of the foot is the center of the foot? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Of course, we spell it a different way, as if to separate it. But see, which comes from the European aspect of needing to dissect all things that are spiritual in order to make them physical, in order to only look from one side. But everything has a polarity. If you look from one side, you need to look at the mirror effect or the reflection of that side. Because all things have polarity. Matter has the polarity of antimatter. Man is the polarity of woman. Up is the polarity of down. You see, you can't escape this. So I don't know if that goes into your question. Let's just recap real quickly, and please keep mind of the time, my brother. I don't wanna make videos too long for y'all. I'm listening to all of y'all. I have another young brother talking to you. We eccentric. I'm talking to you, Mr. Izai. All right. He's always telling me, bro, man, you know, nobody wanna watch no 2-hour videos and da. So I'm gonna make sure that I keep in mind that I don't make my videos too long and I break them into parts, because I listen to all of y'all and I appreciate any type of feedback you could give me to make me a better conveyor of messages and information and knowledge. So I've been told by a person that's a real YouTuber that watch a lot of YouTube to break my videos down. But anyway, what was I just saying? What was I just saying?
We was about to recap.
Oh, yes, we were going to recap. Now, as far as your question on what we did, you have Reiki or Qigong. You have different forms of yoga. By the way, for men, calisthenics. We did a lot of calisthenics. We also did a lot of sparring, brothers. And we also did different forms of wrestling. You can even look up Nuba, N-U-B-A, which is a form of Nubian wrestling or a form of African wrestling. But everything we did was organic. We didn't just lift random shit and just, I mean, if that was the case, you would see it on temple walls. But you don't. Not to mention the fact that you do not see one depiction on any ancient scripture or temple wall showing gigantic, big freaking muscles. You don't see that. You don't see 6-packs in ancient Egypt. You don't see that. As a matter of fact, they have depictions showing a slight belly. A slight belly. You see what I'm saying? So
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, I have a shirt that shows that. But anyway, you have calisthenics for the men, wrestling for the men. Oh, let me also get into this. Ladies, for your sons, if you want to build testosterone in your sons naturally, sprinting is an excellent one. Now, when I say sprinting, you can go to your backyard and have your two sons or have their friends do sprint races. Now, I'm not talking about running. I'm not talking about long distance running. I'm not talking about jogging. I'm talking about sprinting. I'm talking about a burst of energy immediately and then stop. That builds testosterone. Weightlifting builds testosterone. Any form of resistance training builds testosterone for your sons, ladies. Because it's right now is the time. We have to take the ones that are left and the ones that are here, especially the ones that are still within the first cycle of 7 and the first 2 cycles of 7, which would be from 7 to 14. We have to start building them up as men. And sometimes building a man is not always about you having to be a man, but knowing the biology of the masculine anatomy in order to build the testosterone within them, because that testosterone will create a masculine energy within them naturally. The only thing you have to do is teach them the difference between dominance and abuse. And that's a whole nother video. Because a lot of times our women are being taught that dominance is the same thing as abuse, and that's not true. And we have to get out of that mindset. You see what I'm saying? What else did I talk about? Dancing. Oh, taking dance classes, ladies. Stripper pole classes. Go out, buy hula hoop for you and your daughters. Y'all can even start hula hoop parties with you and y'all girlfriends, man. All of this stuff is excellent. Stretching for both us, men and women. That's one thing we don't take credit about. Excuse me. What am I saying? We don't take advantage of. Understand the most powerful things of the body. Your body will force you to do it. Think about that. Think about that. The only thing you need is air and sleep. I don't give a damn how hard you try. You could be flying a plane. You could be jumping out of a plane. You could be climbing a mountain. If you haven't got efficient sleep, your body will put your ass to sleep no matter what you're doing. Driving a car, we all know that. You'll fall asleep behind the wheel. You'll fall asleep having sex. Because that's the thing that whatever your body truly needs, your body will force you to do. What happens when you wake up in the morning, no matter whether you want to do it or not? You do it unconsciously. You stretch. Even yawning. What's yawning? Yawning is your body forcing you to deep breathe. So whether you understand the power of prana breathing or not, your body is intelligent enough to force you to do and practice prana without you even noticing you're doing it. So, stretching is excellent. Yoga is excellent. Calisthenics is excellent. Sparring. Oh man, remember brothers, if y'all old enough, because I don't see kids doing this no more, but back in my day and a little bit further, we used to slap box. We used to shadow box. We used to slap box with each other. You see what I'm saying? Yo, watch it. You know what I'm saying? And we would build up a form of confidence, competition, and we would build our skills with our hands without hurting each other. That was something that we did that came from our DNA. You see what I'm saying? That's a form of exercise and a form of skill training and a form of defense training, okay? And combat training. So these are just a few things that can be done that we used to do and that some of us still do unconsciously without knowing it. Because remember, everything is locked in your DNA. There's certain things that you do and you don't even know why you do it until you find out later that, wow, damn, I used to do that. Funny thing, this fad, this trend with twerking, come to find out, you've been twerking for centuries, ladies. You see what I'm saying? Been twerking for centuries. I never forget when I went to a Nigerian women, the old women were twerking. I was like, oh, but I didn't know how to feel about it because they were doing it too good. When I say that, I'm talking about old women and ladies, if you have that spiral curve, I don't care what you're wearing, you can't hide it. And they're in full African gown. They're not wearing anything skimpy. They're not butt naked. But when I saw them women on that floor for that wedding, only the women, when I saw those women on that floor twerking, boy, I said, God damn, Grandma. I said, woo. I'm like, what the, I mean, shit. Y'all think y'all know what y'all doing? Y'all need to go see some Africans. They'll show you how to do that shit. But the fact of the matter is, the things that seem to become a trend with us are within us naturally, and we don't know where it comes from. I know some of y'all even know the form of breakdancing. Breakdancing is ancient. Breakdancing is ancient. These are just things that get activated within us depending on what generation we're in. And depending on what generation receives a form of elevation to receive access and activation to unlock that which is within their DNA. And they don't know why they're doing it. They just, bam, they just do it. And then it becomes a trend. And then white people try to copy it. You see? So, I don't know if I gave enough, but those are the things.
You gave more than enough, my
Those
brother.
are the things that we can do. Those are the things that we still do naturally. Like I said, have your daughters do the feminine versions of things. Have your sons do the masculine versions of things. We have to take that back, y'all. We have to take that back, all right? Remember, the feminine is pure creativity. The masculine is analytical. Why do you think back in the days you gave your sons erector sets, but then you gave your daughters certain, I forget what they call those things, where they would make jewelry and make all of this stuff. You're talking about creativity, and you're talking about logical, analytical, mechanical aspect. You see what I'm saying? And this builds something inside of them to when they finally reach that second cycle or that third cycle of 7, they're already a master engineer. She's already a master artist. You see what I'm saying? But now we all punching a fucking clock. Well, not all of us, because half these niggas ain't got no job. So whatever, you know what I'm saying? So we got to understand that everything is locked inside of our nature and our DNA. We're fighting and we're suppressing our nature because we're in a society that is governed and controlled by someone who's not from nature. So therefore, we're imitating someone who is not of nature. And being that you're water as woman, wherever you're placed, whatever container you're placed in, whatever environment you're placed in, you absorb the contaminants of that environment in that container. Therefore, you become that. So you can't help that. I don't blame y'all for becoming what they're making y'all. I blame y'all for, after you're being showed, denying it. That's the only times. I don't blame y'all for following certain things and certain trends. I don't blame y'all for that. I blame for y'all for when I show the facts. When you see and you observe back to back to back to back the accumulation of proof and evidence, and you still choose to degenerate yourself. You still choose to destroy your sons. You still choose to be in single homes and praise yourself to be single forever. Humanity is about togetherness. Humanity is about camaraderie. What's the point of being a fucking human if you're going to live alone and die alone? And you talking to somebody who loves being alone. But I don't want to die alone. Hell no. I know I need a woman. I know I need that feminine. Sometimes I be so lost in brother just came in. I'm just disorganized. I need that feminine touch. You see what I'm saying? And I embrace it, and I know I need it. And then I also know that part of me is feminine. And there's times where I tap into that 20% in order to achieve a certain aspect of something that needs creativity at the time. Where we at with the time?
28.
All right. This is part 1. And please, y'all, comment, share, subscribe, challenge. But I look forward to seeing y'all comments. I look forward to hearing your advice, hearing anything that you can add, anything that you can suggest. And I love y'all. Y'all are divine beings. Part 2 coming.